Now, the year end, of course, means that it is the holiday season, but the world is witnessing a pretty sharp rise in the number of COVID-19 infections. This week, the global cases shot up by almost about 500%. And what this means is that the average number of cases has increased pretty much on a day-to-day basis by 18%. So on each day, nearly about 750,000 cases being reported. And this has been the 10th consecutive weekly rise. The pandemic is picking up speed in most regions in Europe, which accounts for nearly about 58% of the world's total. So let's start with what is happening in the United Kingdom, which happens to be the worst affected country in Europe. The country has reported over 100,000 cases in the last 24 hours, and this is the first time since the pandemic began that hospitalizations are also growing, but they are said to be much slower than what was witnessed in the previous waves. Experts have linked this to high vaccination rates. Now, on the other side of the English Channel, in France, it has, of course, got one of the biggest hospital fears spaces for new patients could potentially run out. The country is recording over 60,000 cases, which is an increase of almost about 21%. The medical staff is exhausted. Omicron is, of course, bearing down and beds are filling up fast. Listen in to what one of the staff at one of the French intensive care units have to say.
Si le variant Omicron entraîne autant de formes sévères que les variants précédents, il fera probablement exploser les hôpitaux, je pense. Oui. Tout à fait, parce qu'on est déjà en tension, avec très peu de places disponibles. Et vu le nombre de contaminations prévues, plus de 100 000 contaminations par jour en fin d'année, si vraiment il y a autant de formes sévères qu'avec les variants précédents, à l'hôpital on risque très certainement d'être débordé.
Now, on a per capita basis, Denmark remains the country with the biggest number of fresh cases, with 1,500 per 100,000 inhabitants. And the United States, interestingly, remains the country with the highest COVID-19 caseload. According to the recent average, close to 200,000 people are testing positive for the virus pretty much every single day. And this is an increase of almost about 51% in terms of positivity. Now, on the other side of the world, China has also recorded some of the highest numbers of COVID-19 infections in the last 4 months. China is on high alert. We've been telling you about the central city of Xi'an, where at least about 13 million people have now been subjected to a very strict lockdown. China is set to hold the Winter Olympics slated in the month of February next year. So an influx in the number of cases threatens even whether the event will go ahead as planned. The global rise in the number of cases is being attributed to the spread of the new Omicron variant. Many southern African nations have fallen prey to this mutant, and so the biggest spikes in the number of cases have been recorded in these nations. In the Horn of Africa, in Ethiopia, the number of infections has skyrocketed sevenfold, while Kenya has witnessed a 483% rise. While Zambia, the number of cases have risen by 370%, while Mozambique has witnessed a rise in over 150% in terms of positivity rates. But on the other hand, there are some pockets in Asia and also in West Asia where the cases have dropped by almost about 13% in comparison to the other wave. More number of people have been vaccinated globally, which is being seen as one of the reasons as to why the number of deaths have remained low in this wave of COVID-19 infections. The death toll has decreased by about 2% to less than 7,000 per day. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.